Nice to be in orbit. Nice to be in orbit.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, and welcome to Sip and Chat with me, your host Azem, and of course, I'm here with the lovely Jade, Gwen, Idita, CPL, Martha, Stewart, think it's Beyonce Johnson, who loves to ignore the prompts at the beginning of the show.
That is not true. This is the first time, okay? This is the first time, and I looked at myself and I said,
You live and you learn. Mm-hmm. But guys, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning, terrific Tuesday, and we're here at the Sugar Factory, actually getting ready for an amazing show.
we are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shout out to all the people who have passwords on the WhatsApp. And
You mean yourself?
no, I don't have no password on my WhatsApp. But shout out to those people though. Big up yourself. Those are the people who I want to champion and promote this morning.
Where did this thought come from?
No, it just what happens is sometimes there's segments of people who don't get the appreciation they deserve.
Yeah, that's true, but this was very specific.
Most of my shout-outs are very specific.
Okay, I need you to continue that, by the way.
Yeah. They are going to give daily shout-outs
Yeah, you have to.
to underserved communities. Daily shout-outs to underserved communities.
Something is wrong with you, you know?
What are you talking about?
Something.
Because they show appreciation?
No, you're right. You're supposed to, yeah?
Yeah. No, this one settled. You want to get out to do it for the next one time, guys? Get out to do it one time.
Listen,
Something.
let's start over. It's too late? Is it too late?
Nah. I think we're good. But
I'm sorry, guys. Anyway,
yeah.
it was a very happy song.
But guys, again, appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time out to come log on with us. Whether it is that you're joining us live or you're listening to this, post live, we appreciate you. But Jade, how you doing?
Boy, to tell you the truth, right?
Yeah, let's be honest.
I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not complaining though, because I feel like everything that's happening currently is because of things that's supposed to happen now for my future to look different. Right? So like, you know how sometimes we complain all day about how we had such a rough day or how things ain't going good or like you're just overwhelmed in these things. Mm-hmm. I think what we fail to notice is that these things is just for now, right? You're just having to go through things for now because whatever happening in the future, this has to happen.
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you.
I was looking out the window this morning.
That's a good outlook.
Yeah. Well, I have to. It's either that or go crazy. As if it's either that or I'm just in here miserable. And we don't want that. So,
No.
So let's just, you see, because remember the conversation we was having last night?
Yeah.
That transcended into me looking out the window just now and realizing that this is just like a start.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah.
And it's going to be an extremely funny story. Like, man, if you just see the little thing that has been happening, I'll recognize.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. I think, but tell us exactly what made you look out the window. I'm really curious. What made you look out the window?
I see a white car. And I was like, okay, well, we're starting here. I'm going to remember this white car and what I was seeing next to the white car.
So you took a mental note of the date, the time, what was happening. Okay.
And then I figure like the next time I'm going to do that is when we on a different level.
Yeah, man. I guess for me too, like, I am very comfortable. I'm very comfortable in the struggles of creativity, whether it is when you're trying to create a work of art or something, or create a business, like I'm very comfortable in that chaos at the beginning of creativity, because I feel like I'd always in that mode anyway. Like I always trying to create something. So
you feel like you're always in chaos?
I'm saying I'm very comfortable in the chaos. I don't not that I am chaotic.
Oh no, not you chaotic, but maybe your surroundings, your life.
Jade, anyway you look right now is chaos, Jade.
No, yes.
Just turn on your TV.
No, that is true.
Turn on your TV.
However, we already so like accustomed to that, so that don't really bother us anymore, which is scary, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, if things got to get real, do you think like we're gonna understand? Well, we did, because we went through COVID, and we saw that we panicked early, and so yeah, I think if something happened, we're going to.
You have a lot of faith, Jade, because what I saw during COVID is that people were wilding.
Yeah, however, that is because we've never went through a pandemic. So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we wild for everything. Like I was telling you during the pandemic. Remember, one of the thoughts I expressed was, what this shows me is that we really, as a species, we are nowhere as prepared for catastrophe on a global scale in any sense. In any sense. Instead of the countries coming together, all working together to combat whatever, it was all everybody get into their silos, everybody for themselves. It was like.
But we ever had to do that though? Like we ever had to, as a whole world, come together for a disaster?
Not in modern times.
Well then, so we got know what to do.
No, but what I'm saying is you would have thought, for instance, right? You know, people would think you watch Independence Day. You watch all these movies where the aliens come, right? And it's like all of a sudden like all the countries come together for
but that's a movie, because that's what they want to happen.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So we would want to believe that we would recognize the need to come together. No.
No, I don't feel so. I think it's because we've never had to do this. It's like
So you think if something else happen again, that we're gonna change where we are?
No, but
that's what I'm saying. So we're just not capable. We're just not capable of doing it. It wasn't because it was the first time. It's because we're not capable. Because we probably knew what should have happened, but we refused to do it. We knew what should have happened.
Do you think that would have been easy to do that? Like all of us?
It doesn't matter if it's easy or not, is whether what would be best. And we just didn't do what would be best, and we knew what would be best.
Did everybody know?
Yes, Jade. Come on, Jade. There were people shouting it from the rooftops, like all during the pandemic.
Yeah, but that's just one set of voices. Like everybody shouting.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, as a species, prior to COVID, if you told somebody, hey, what do you think should happen in the event of some kind of global catastrophe? Should there be some sort of interregional, international, global response that is coordinated? Seeing as we have things like the internet and so, where you could talk to anybody around the world. We have institutions like the UN. We have institutions like the G8. We have institutions. Do you believe that those institutions should come together and act in the way that they are intended to act? Or do you believe that everybody should just go into their silos, figure out their own set of rules, their own set of whatever, and then just like whatever happen? Everybody would go. But we got the UN. The UN should probably be, yeah. What I'm saying, that's what people would say that, but we're not gonna do it.
I don't think so, because we can't even solve small things, you know.
That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, we ain't gonna make
the point is that we won't do it, even though we know what we should do.
Yeah, we can. We have wars, disasters, Haiti in shambles still. All these things happening, right? Before even a thought of a pandemic, and they still can't get it fixed. They can't. We can't even get CARICOM.
I think part of it for me is that there is not a real effort to even get them to get some of these things right. In other words, it may be that the way things are the way they are designed to be, and they're designed to be that way because guess what?
That's dark.
It's beneficial for somebody.
Yeah. Right now, somebody making a lot of money because of that war in Syria, right? Like, You know how much, you know how crazy it is to have a war and then just start running out of bullets?
Or the one in Ukraine?
You know how much money that is for that person who makes those bullets?
Yeah.
Imagine you just make bullets and you're out of stock.
Imagine what happened was you sent your stockpile and tell them, hey, this is supposed to last about 3 months. And they come back a week later and be like, you got more? That's what happened here.
Insane, you know?
Yeah, they gave them enough bullets, ammunition, supposedly for 3 months. And within a week, they came back and was like, yeah, you got more?
They're over, bro. It's so insane. Like, it's so crazy to just think that people over in a part of the world just doing this. Just literally every day, no matter what time it is. That you have you seen that on TikTok, Azem? Like, you at a war, but you're stopping to make a TikTok.
Because what else you gonna do? It's either that shoot or die. So you just kind of forget the die part and
What I used to do before
juggle between the two.
What I used to do before, like
Whittle. They used to whittle, like literally, that's what they used to do. They used to get like pieces of wood and take the little sharp knives and make stick figurines and so.
Oh my God! No wonder y'all was well.
But what?
Maybe that's why the wars them used to stop, you know.
What I've been finding interesting is, I don't know if you've seen, but it seems as though Russia has been testing like new age weapons in Ukraine. You saw this. You saw this one where it's like it's raining fire. Like it's like instead of like raindrops, it's fire drops.
So everybody just noticed?
Yeah, like Jade.
Okay, so
Oh, my phone in there.
that's why they're trying to lock up. I feel like this has to do with the way they're trying to lock up Putin. Actually, let me go see why they want to lock up Putin, because I feel like if anything, this is a strong reason. Why he doing that? I mean, I know why he doing that,
Trying
but
to win, Jade. Trying to win the war.
he could stop.
No, I don't.
We didn't ain't all sometimes, you know.
No, but I don't think he's in a position where he can just surrender.
So we can't just stop. Like we can't, if you stop and I stop. You remember how here when people used to beef, like you just used to stop? At one point you would see that person and no longer want to fight them. There's this moment when y'all just realize.
See, generally in that example, you're the one at risk. Like physically. Putin is riding around in a bulletproof train.
Yeah, but
and sending people's sons over to Ukraine to die.
I think what happened, right, Azem, because we watch these in movies so much that we desensitized. Because you hear what you just said. Yeah. We watch a movie like this already, you know.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I keep saying it I find interesting is with wars, armies create their own necessity, right? So the only reason I need an army is because you have an army.
Yeah.
So if there were no soldiers,
that's why
there'd be no armies.
So that's why I keep asking, so why we just can't all stop? Like just decide, you know what? This ain't making sense.
Because
everybody ain't gonna stop at the same time.
No,
right?
not only that, but let's be honest. There are very few commanders of men. Most of us are followers. Most of us live our lives needing to be told what to do, and we fall in line. As much as everybody likes to believe as though they're these individuals, look around, Jade.
You know what would stop the war in Ukraine? Like I'm thinking about, I listening to you and I'm thinking about how we stopped here. Remember there was this period of everybody was just dying, and then it just stopped. Whoever do that, that's what we need over in the Ukraine.
Need over there in Ukraine?
I mean, you're gonna have points where they start again, eh? Because as you said, everybody, people radical sometimes and everybody just follow sometimes. Then they're gonna have little pockets. But at least it ain't gonna be like this.
Yeah, the thing is I am not of the opinion that there is a quick
ain't gonna be quick, man.
There's not a quick end to if I'm not mistaken, we actually just passed the what is it, the year mark for the Ukraine war? 2 years?
Was it 2 years?
1 year. Because this basically started what, January or something?
Yeah, I think it's a year.
So, I mean, it's a very Why?
Listen, I swear I had a story about.
We discussed the fact that they put Putin on the
No, not that.
there's like a
We
war
were- it
criminals
was-
list.
No, it was between me and you. We wasn't. We was talking about them trying to lock up Putin.
We didn't do it on the show. We just had
No.
the conversation.
And, where is it? By the way, I have a story about our friend, and you will never guess which one. But he's a favorite here.
He's a fave? Okay.
Yeah, he's a definite favorite. I want to know where they're trying to lock up, or how they're trying to lock up Putin, because I don't see.
No, they're not trying to lock him up, you know. They just basically say that, hey, we should probably try to lock him up, but nobody going to try actually lock him up.
So where they say for?
You know what they say?
To save face?
No, not to save face. That's a lot of these things. That's how it runs in the international market, you know.
So they just say things?
Like geopolitical issues like this, it's just a lot of it is for sure.
Clearly, because
You know, war criminals. nobody trying to catch them, Jade. War criminals just running countries and so.
Yeah, Haiti currently.
And then not only that, like when you start to study about who they decide to make a war criminal and who's not a war criminal, you just got to wonder, like, okay, y'all just choosing out a hat or something, because
Definitely lucky them. Wait, remember Coney? Remember when everybody was like, did Coney ever get locked up?
whatever happened to Coleman for Chubai?
Man, no.
Because
I know the man who started the whole Coney movement, he went crazy.
yeah, one of the issues with what we're talking about is the fact that we get uber focused for short periods on issues, and then we move quickly on to the next issue.
Yeah.
I am almost pretty certain that there's still Nigerian girls being kidnapped.
Yeah, all the time.
Nobody talking about that.
All the
Remember
time.
that was the biggest thing. Everybody sending money Nigeria.
Yeah.
All kind of-
I pass stories about that all the time. So yeah, that a lot of things don't stop, you know. It's just that
yeah,
we get distracted by other things that like we deem as more exciting, I guess.
I don't even know if it's distracted. Our attention, because I think it's very intentional. I think it's very intentional. The sensationalism. Like humans are such an interesting creature, right? Humans are such an interesting creature. So for instance, right? We are more emotionally attached and get more emotionally involved in personal stories where we feel like we can relate. It gets very, very personal for us, and especially when it gets very specific, right? So if I tell you there's a guy out there breaking pencils, right? Well, okay, so what? But if I bring a pencil to you and I introduce you to this pencil, I'm like, yo, this is my favorite pencil. This is my favorite pencil, and his name is Bill. I've had Bill.
That's a cute pencil.
Yeah, I've had Bill since I was in university, and he's been with me ever since then. And then all of a sudden, when the Kingsters come out and just break Bill, you'll be
no, it got me aware.
you'll be like, but why you do that?
Yeah.
But it's this, but you didn't feel no way when I was telling you about all them pencils that getting broken outside. So similarly, if there is a story that comes out about this young girl who unfortunately was playing at the playground with her parents, right? Her parents were just eating a meal and they looked around and recognized that they're no longer seeing her. They started looking, they can't find her. They went to the park security, and the park security looked back on the footage and saw a white van drive up and pull little Sally, of course it's Sally she named, pull little Sally into the truck, and then they were able to track the vehicle till it got to the highway, but they weren't able to follow where it went after that.
Oh, the news would be in shambles. Man.
Everybody would be like, oh my God, fine,
Lord.
where's Sally? It doesn't hit you the same way when we go and say, oh, hundreds of girls getting kidnapped in Nigeria daily. Like it don't hit us the same way.
Listen, I have a theory.
What's the theory?
May not be theory match what you're talking about, but I have a theory on why your attention spans getting shorter.
Let's go.
Okay. So I feel like the reason that we attention span getting shorter is because of TikTok, right? Like, well, not even TikTok, but all the apps them that just continuously shrinking the time we watch anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason that happened is because all these apps, right, were made by aliens
Okay.
to distract us
Mm-hmm.
from them coming.
Oh, okay. I could possibly.
Think about it.
So the whole like Mark Zuckerberg story
He might
and
be
the
an
movie.
alien.
That's what I was about to say.
You ever see him?
I was about that's where I was going.
Yeah.
Like I was about to say the whole Mark Zuckerberg story could possibly be correct, except they left out the fact that he's an alien and this is why he did it.
Or maybe they know.
I think well, there's been suspicions that he's an alien. Android. He's the one who people think is an android. Okay. Well, I mean, hey, it's a theory.
Yeah, because I don't think it's healthy for us to consume things the way we're consuming them.
No, Jade. Nothing we are doing, and I keep saying what is happening is that we are developing technology, right, faster than our biology can evolve. So our the technology around us is evolving faster than our biology, right? And so what happens is that causes immature use of the technology. It's like it's like we're giving a baby a gun, right? And the baby like just smelling the gun and taking it out on camera and so, like that's kind of like what's going on. So like, what happened? But yeah, so that's what's going on. Like we basically giving the baby the gun, right?
You said that sentence and it reminded me of something that we watched last week.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, so that's just the way I'm looking at it too, with like what's happening with our. I think what happened is because of consumerism, right? Driving so much of what happens in the world, that songs went from being 7 minutes long to being like literally you got songs that are like a minute and a half now.
You know that pissed me off.
What, the short songs?
Yes.
I'm a Stevie Wonder fan, right? So one of the things I always love about Stevie Wonder songs is the little musical interlude. Like the bridge.
Just raw music.
Watch it, even got any people. You talk to a young child now about the bridge of a song, they have no idea what you're talking about. They don't know what bridge is.
Oh my God, man.
You're growing up, you're listening to R&B, you're waiting for the bridge. When the bridge is when everybody getting the feelings.
Listen,
is
when they're outside in the rain,
yeah.
spinning and so.
For some reason, you clench your fist and you look up in the sky. Yeah, like.
I know it's just raw songs. Like, oh, y'all pissing me off.
I don't even know if you call them raw songs. It's like, you know, when you go to Sunday school and they got the choruses. It's like we just got choruses and albums now. Yeah, so.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it, honestly.
Everything is microwavable, quick.
Everything is quick for real. I tell you, they're distracting us, you know, Azem. Listen, and I feel like all these little trends, right? These weird trends that people following, is just them testing us to see how far we reach. Because what would make you go up on a crate and just drop off? They got high stacks a carib crate and just drop off.
I don't know.
What would possess you to do that?
The need for.
What would possess you to eat a Tide Pod? Detergent. Azem, you ever wanted to eat soap powder?
Nope.
Okay, neither me. So why are we doing it? Never ever had a craving for soap powder. I tell you that they're testing us and we're losing terribly, Azem.
Yeah, big fail. Big fail. Yeah.
That is why they're giving us nothing else, because they're testing us on small things to see if we're ready and we're not.
Yeah, but you're familiar with Star Trek? Like
I wanted to watch, like I like those type of shows, but for some reason I've never. Maybe I should try it again.
Well, maybe not the original Star Trek series, but the new ones are pretty cool.
Okay.
So what basically?
Where that come on?
Where does it come on?
Yeah, where you watch that?
Whatever private inside you just watch it.
I don't do that. Okay, I have decorum.
Okay, so what you have Amazon?
I have Netflix.
Okay, it's on one of the Star Treks on Netflix, so you can watch that one.
Okay. Yeah. Stop pirating. Yeah, stop pirating the people things then.
No, because you got to pirate in somewhere. Even if you're paying, you got to pirate because you got to still tell them you're in States. So you still gotta get VPN. So like So like I know people who pay for all the services, but they just have to fool them to make them feel like they're in the States.
You remember you used to get locked up for this?
For what?
For pirating.
I remember, yeah, I remember what, I know what you're talking about, but
It was a crime, man.
no, it's still a crime.
Oh, for sure?
It's still a crime.
Wow.
It's still a crime. It's just that I think that content creators becoming more hip or be working with the system as opposed to trying to fight it. But one of the things with Star Trek is that the Empire, what the name is it? What they call themselves? Somebody can tell us what they call themselves. But as they move around through the galaxy, they are looking at different civilizations and seeing where they're at in the evolution, right? So, and they can keep themselves, they could cloak themselves, make themselves undetectable to different civilizations. So they would literally be there looking at them and be like, no, they ain't ready yet.
No, don't do.
And so one of the things that they use to determine if they're gonna make the approach to this new civilization and allow them into the Federation, the Galactic Federation, is if they get like, I think it's like hyperdrive technology, right? So one time they were just there like chilling, sipping on Mai Tais and so, and then they got a notification that like they got the signature of like the hyperdrive in like this weird planet where nobody been watching. So they were like, wait, what? What's going on over here, boy? So they went there to go and examine what's happening. And it's like, yeah, they developed the technology, but they weren't much, the same thing, they weren't mature enough.
They're Earth.
So what's happening is that there is a political issue, a political fight going on,
Definitely.
and they developed the technology as a weapon. So then they kept there saying, this ain't how this supposed to go here. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna let them wipe out each other, or we're gonna reveal ourselves to them and see if we could bring some peace and then help them things. So
I have a theory on this. Go ahead.
So there was this whole big discussion. Some people were saying that's outside of the rules, bro. We're supposed to wait until they have these things, until they're mature enough, whatever the man said. But they've developed the technology, they're not mature enough, and they're looking to go kill themselves. And I don't think they even know that they're going to kill themselves. So then, yeah, eventually they did like reveal themselves and like were able to talk to the big factions to get them to say like, look, you're going to kill ourselves, you're going to wipe out your entire planet. This is who we are, we could come and help you. Let us know if you want the help or not, because if not, y'all gonna wipe out the planet. Like, so I really feel that's kind of like where we at as a species.
You know, suppose that's why God come.
What do you mean?
Suppose God was the thing that had to, like, he said that we was going to kill himself, and then he revealed himself, right? And then
we just forgot about him again.
Yeah. Remember, we attention shots, you know. We ain't forget about him. I just think, because if we had forgotten about him, I don't think religion would have been a thing. I just think, based on what you're telling me, I feel like that's what's happening, but on like a different scale. Like, you ever think that there might be like police for the universe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The same thing, I think there's like a galactic federation.
Yeah.
They're going around and like...
But suppose there was God. But suppose like people thought there was God.
What we call police is just God.
Not police here, not these.
Yeah, but whatever that force is.
Yes.
Well, I guess in essence, that's exactly who.
Because while listening to you describe that, right? That's why I'm thinking. I said, this does sound like God.
Like an omnipotent being that like tries to keep everything smooth. I understand.
So that's why you're coming back in because we close, man. We rain in fire. We are raining fire, Azem.
I'm one of them who believes in like ancient civilizations. Like, so I believe that what happened is that on several occasions, humanity was reset as a result of some big catastrophe.
COVID?
Well, COVID didn't reset us. I'm talking about like
Like everybody
like
gone.
the asteroids came and like wiped out. So we had advanced civilizations. The problem is that we lose a lot of the knowledge, and basically the species is gonna start back from scratch. But every time we start back a little different. We take a different path.
Maybe that's the kind of way we got like why people believe in like reincarnation and stuff. Because like this information has to come from somewhere.
No, but there's things that we can't explain that.
A lot of
And
things.
no, but we find in civilizations like we find in these places where there's like nobody now, that's abandoned, that you could say 2 million people used to live there. Like in the Amazon and all these places. Like they probably had like a volcanic something that people run whatever.
I think I saw a story recently about when when I was going to reset. I think they said like 2056.
Well, I don't know if it's something like that, but
not reset in that way. It was like an asteroid, they say.
Oh, should reach.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so my thing is, I think that happens. Like, I think that's pretty feasible. And I think in a lot of these cultures where they talk about like the light bringer or the information bringer. So for instance, like we're still trying to figure out how they build the pyramids. I just think that there was a civilization that built the pyramids. They had the technology. It's just that now we found we in a different we've probably lost some of the knowledge that they had.
But in Far-Fetched, we built Brimstone Hill.
But we know how they build Brimstone Hill, Jade.
Yes, but what I'm saying is the same way they were able to
definitely not the same.
No, I mean the same way they were able to know how to build it. It would be the same way that civilization would know how to build the pyramids.
Yeah.
Not that I make Brimstone Hill out this.
No, but what I'm saying is like the fact that we are puzzled by things that were done in the past, I think it hints at a loss of knowledge.
In history.
Yeah, but a loss of knowledge. So whatever that knowledge was that they had, there's a gap in our knowledge. And so that's why we don't fully understand what was done in the past. Even though, in other words, we look at the species development in this like linear thing, where, there was a caveman, boom, 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 whatever, and then...
There was monkeys first.
Well...
For some reason, but anyway.
So there was basically this linear thing, not recognizing that things would have happened in between there that might have caused gaps, and we would have had to kind of reset.
And maybe those are the things that ended the world. Whatever we forgot, those gaps. Maybe we were meant to forget them because maybe that's how we ended the world last time.
But I think it's more. I really feel it's natural disasters between volcanoes and asteroids and stuff like that hitting the planet. I think that's kind of what.
That's crazy, you know. We're just out here floating on a ball, you know.
We're floating on a ball with all kind of rocks around us. And
we're fighting over nonsense, as in, like, we're literally floating in nothing.
Yeah, that's if you believe that. Because, you know,
I forget they said that.
Some people don't believe that.
Yeah, I forget they said, like, it's a dome and we project. But you see, I would really like to understand their theory. Not because I would believe it, but because there's some things for me that I would want to know, like, what is projecting the image that y'all said is being projected on the dome? Like, what exactly?
Yeah, where those projectors are?
Yes. And how, because you know why the projector, so they have to know why the projector. You know how big of a projector you would need?
Multiple.
So what, they're just at the...
A big LED screen.
Yeah, but then, what power in there? Because in the sun, because they don't believe in the sun either.
Yeah, they believe in the sun.
Oh, so what ain't real then?
But what's not real is it depends. You can either do the flat earther theory, but there's too many theories, Jade. It just depends on which one you want to discuss.
I like the dome and I like the flat earther.
You like the dome?
The dome. The dome one interesting because maybe because we just do events.
Maybe
so really like thinking about it.
Maybe in a marble. Yeah, maybe in a marble.
There's some big child that's holding us all over the place.
A big alien. We might be in an alien like pouch.
We might be in a snow globe too, you know.
That's what I mean. But basically, the dome is basically a snow globe type theory that we're living in a snow globe.
And natural disasters is when they just fed up us, so they just shake us.
They just shake up. They just shake it.
Listen, there's so many things I can believe, right? Because we really do not know, you know.
And I think that's part of it. The recognition that we don't know
So
gives us a starting place to continually explore. When
Yeah, that's true.
when people start talking about they know and they know and they know, I just get kind of weary of that because it's like, really, do you?
I think that word does bother me when it comes to some religious people.
But I don't know.
That they think they know. And what they think they know is truth. And if you try even question it, is an issue or they get offended.
Yes, because we identify who we are by our beliefs. So if you start to question someone's beliefs, it's literally a question in the essence of who that person is. That is a very discomforting situation to be in. We are literally the essence of what makes you question. So if that is a question, Jen, why Jade want to go and watch Disney Plus in the middle of the day? Is that show you want us to go and watch?
Maybe I don't know Netflix, you know.
So if there is, so for instance, if you're questioning somebody's belief system, you're literally undermining what makes that person them.
Yeah, but I mean, I
And
understand
that's
that,
very
right?
disconcerting. It's just very uncomfortable.
Yeah, but if you are part of it, I think when people try to convince you that you should join them, right? I think it's understandable for them to have questions, the person that you're trying to convince, for them to have questions about what it is your religion is about, why I should join and all of these things, right? So it's like a job interview, right? Both of us should have questions. But why is it that I shouldn't, according to some religions, ask questions as opposed to just believe what you say?
No, but religions generally have a fallback mechanism in place. It's called faith, right? So it's literally the belief without evidence. So what happens is that it becomes a frustrating conversation. Same thing we were talking about yesterday, where you're trying to get me to explain something that is not meant to be explained, right? There's no explanation because what it is, it's a belief. So when you're asking me, so some people, people don't mind the questions, you know. People get frustrated when you ask questions that seek to prove. So if you ask somebody, hey, why is it you guys believe? Generally, nobody, most religions you won't get upset with that kind of question. But then when you start asking questions with the intention of gaining proof of what is being said, then that becomes very uncomfortable because by definition, this is a faith-based thing. So what you're asking me for evidence of a faith-based thing. So how we going? So that in itself becomes very very uncomfortable, I think.
That's why cults so successful.
I think generally cults are successful because more so because of the demigods that exist. So I don't think it's necessarily just a matter of faith-based things being so convincing. I think what we consider cults really become what they are because of the rise of a demigod, like a person who assumes the role of some supreme leader, supreme being, somebody who is all-knowing, who knows more than other people. And so that gets wrapped up in things like how charismatic they are. And of course, I think for most cults, there's a certain element of predatory behavior and taking advantage of people's either questions, faith, despair.
So that means any fraction of society could become a cult, basically.
Well, I keep saying that when we start talking about cults and cult-like behavior, there are a lot of things in society that
Bye. The map, me. What is wrong with him?
the Kingsters are different, man. They're different. They're different. They're different. We ain't got to get a camera in the Kingston room, in the King Club. We ain't got to get anyway. So I think that there are a lot of things in society that function like cults. I keep saying the political parties.
Boy, because that's what I listening to you, right? And I say, boy, he describing some people we know, boy.
Yeah, I think the political parties function very cult-like, right? I think sport teams, at their base, some sporting clubs have an element of cult-like behavior, especially if you have, for instance, a very charismatic coach or manager, like in football. Like, I remember I'm a Man U fan, and there was people who literally would be like, "Yo, make Alex Ferguson the president of the world." like
the entire world.
The entire world. Wow. Like Alex Ferguson just need to just run the entire world.
He could run a team.
Because I mean, look at what he's doing with Man U.
Look at where Man U is now.
No, Man U actually doing good. Big up Rashford one time. Yeah, I think the end of this season, they're really shown. Big up the 3-1 win this weekend.
Okay, full disclosure, I have no idea what's happening in football, but usually on Saturdays when I go online, I see people cussing Man U, so I just assume that it's still happening.
No, I mean right now, I think the Premier League.
I used to be a Man U fan too, you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, years ago, I got out of the cult-like following of teams, so now I like football, right? Yeah. So, as much as I was a Man U fan, I would root for Liverpool. I'll even root for City sometimes. The only team that I can't root for, really, might be Chelsea.
You know,
something I just can't root for Chelsea.
So you know that's why I became a Man U fan, because my family is a Chelsea fan. And every Sunday I used to just be walking around the house in his blue jersey, like. You know, that used to bother me. I don't know why. I think because maybe they're like blue. So I was like, who is y'all opponent? Man U? Okay, that's why back in, because this pissing me off.
Yeah, get me vexed now. So yeah, I think also we have social groups that function somewhat cult-like, that can kind of get into cult-like. Look at some of the gangs and stuff like that, especially gangs that have very charismatic leaders, right, who are able to entice them and encourage them to put themselves in harm's way for their own.
Yeah, but that had to be a hell of a speech. You ever sit down and think about like a speech that you think that is the speeches before that?
I don't think they do it. I don't think they have speeches in the traditional sense, right?
Yeah, no, thinking about my Martin Luther speeches.
Right, exactly. But I do believe that charisma and influence can be displayed in different ways.
The reason
you don't have to stand behind a pulpit or a lectern or anything. No,
not at all. But the reason I ask is because, you know, sometimes there have been like fights, gang fights, right? So, like, I always wonder, they go, how would that, like, what's the progression between there? Like, you're just sitting down, chilling, and then what happened between there for you to be able to gather all these people to go fight? Me talking about, like, spontaneous.
No, like, we're going out to do hunting. We're going hunting. Like, we're going out to do badness.
What you just tell them for them to get up, put every, like,
you play on people's emotion, right? You play on people's desire to be a part of something. You also play on, especially young men's desire to be competitive. We're competitive by nature, right? And we compete. The way that men generally compete is physical, right?
Man, everything is like a men thing too.
No.
I'm thinking about what used to happen to me in high school.
Oh, well, I didn't know you were in a gang. Sorry.
Oh, well, you know, it wasn't a gang.
What are you gang them? I remember you had a...
No.
What happened to the Izzles? The Izzles was a gang?
The Izzles was a group.
What do you mean a group? Come on. What, they were singing group? What was the dance? Come on, Jade. What is it? Seriously. Seriously.
What you doing there?
I don't know. I don't remember who the
How
Izzles
you
were.
Remember? I do. That's why.
So they were a gang? They were a gang? They weren't? They used to do gang things, but they weren't a gang.
They're doing them.
I don't know.
The Izzles.
Any of the Izzles, can you please message us on the live and let us know what you guys were and what y'all
This
used to
was such like that gave me some serious flashbacks, you know. But you was teaching them, that's why you remember.
Yeah,
this.
I was teaching during the Izzle
So
time.
the teachers used to know.
But how could we not know?
Why are you not studying?
You just, what we could say? What we could say, Jade?
Men are his teachers. I feel like if y'all
Stop
feel
being
like
an Izzle? What you can say? You come school, tell me you're an Izzle. What I could do? Okay, turn to page 15. That's the
Yo.
Turn to page
Oh,
15.
this making it so much funnier because I know them personally.
But yeah, like
That made me cry, bro. That was like such a cool memory for me from high school.
no, I remember when
I want to know what y'all. They said nothing. Like what? Okay, so y'all assume that.
when we said nothing, like we
because
only could deal with the results of
But
the
why?
socialization.
Because if y'all assume that
Because
we
this-
were
because-
groups, we were gangs, right? Why not intervene? Eh?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what would the intervention look like?
I don't know. Y'all think we's gangs? We gangs is do.
I like how you're saying, yeah, but go ahead. I like how you're laying out yourself. That's great.
No, I wasn't.
Right. So why you ganging them?
What's gang?
Why you ganging them for
I was
today?
not. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't.
Ah, yeah, I didn't have a name. Yeah, this was a group
I
of friends.
Can't say that. Can't say that, boy. I can't, but I can't. Oh, let me see if I have a message me now.
What, the Izzle's message you?
No, not the Israel.
So, what you gang a name?
You remember the Wu-Tang song?
Which one? There's a lot of them.
Hold on, I'm giving you context clues here. It's an abbreviation. It's an abbreviation.
Yes.
What was the abbreviation?
You mean cream? Yeah, what, the creamsicles? Man, no, Jade. How is...
Listen, don't judge, okay?
Yeah, what, the creamers? Oh my God.
See, I tell you, you know? That's it.
That was y'all gang name? Wow.
Stop, we want a gang.
So what y'all were though?
A group.
What the Kingston say you were a gang, and he would know.
He would not.
So y'all used to go around fighting and so?
But that didn't make us a gang.
Oh, that didn't make you a gang?
No.
A group of girls going around fighting. Group of girls going around fighting other groups.
As a right now, you're triggering a lot of us, right?
That ain't my fault. This song gone. Y'all ain't done repent.
Yes.
Okay, so we
Yes.
could. So this is what I'm
It's
talking
just
about.
funny because I have not thought about that in a while.
Y'all running around in third from talking about y'all in a gang. Fighting other girls.
Fighting high schools too, you know?
So this was an inter-school thing? So
Yes.
this got inter-school fights?
How we reach you? How we reach you? I still want to know where you stop us.
No, okay. Think about it though, right, Jade?
I mean, don't lie.
No.
There's so many there's so many people
There were a lot
you
of
know,
crews.
that you know.
Was in the groups?
And yes.
Yeah, I know
Like
this.
study, it was a group that we had from since high school.
Yeah, I know that.
You didn't think that was a gang?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I said, oh, but I thought it was a gang, but no, never mind then.
Yes. But okay, this was my thing too. The teachers who were around my age, who would be maybe more in touch with what's going on, because we would have been maybe just a few years older than some of the students who were
That's
involved
why I
in
want
these
to
kind
know
of
where
things.
y'all is. Anything?
No, what I'm saying is what we came from. What we came from was like
actual gangs?
real thing.
No, man. That's why I'm wondering, like,
So-
why y'all didn't
so
see
for
the
us-
path we could be on.
No. So for us, what y'all was doing was like, oh, that's cute.
Oh, wow.
You understand? No, seriously, I'm
Now I
telling
could
you.
imagine. We used to just.
You got acid crew, car cash crew. Like
Not heard
this,
about them.
This
You
real,
remember TNO?
this is real thing. Yeah,
We was talking about that last night.
yeah, TNO. Yeah. So like, but that's what I'm saying. These were real do
Yeah.
things people. Like,
We were actually just the cute kids.
right. So exactly.
Ours was nowhere close to what these people used to do.
Right. So even when I was teaching, you would have guys who were involved, and the question that you're asking is actually really serious, because there would have been a lot of young men that I taught who ain't here no more.
Yeah, and the reason
They're not here anymore.
I just realized the question is because I never stopped to think that teachers actually know. So when you said that, I was like, oh, you know that.
How could we not know? Y'all going on Pinocchio show and
Oh,
and
yo.
how could we not know? The groups used to go on the People show
That
on 4th Street
wow, this
and
is
say
making me feel very
and have
old.
y'all would have like little like routines that you would do and so like it was a thing. There was a thing like
I ain't think about none of this in a long time, you know.
like if your name is the Popsicles, they would have like would have something called POPCIcles.
It was so serious, right? That remember Young Money Barbershop? Like all of the
Yeah, I know. I used to go in there.
yes. Oh wow, you unlocked like a serious core memory.
Yeah. No, it was a thing and
But yeah, tell us why y'all never intervened.
I don't think it was a matter of intervening in the trying to dismantle the groups. Like, but I think you would have I think they were very concerned teachers who would just be concerned about specific students, right? So, for instance, I also was a football coach, right? So, just based on my relationship with my players, I would have certain conversations about decisions they would make, things they were involved in. Like
that's good.
No, but but some of it I would get involved in just by proxy. Like sometimes we got to play football in a certain area, and we know we have to pack up before the game done because
Listen, I've seen some things at football games, right?
no, like it was a real thing.
Oh my
Like
god.
there were times when I've had damage done to my vehicle because as soon as the game done, there's stones coming and I have to pack the students into my vehicle and drive off. Like it's that kind of thing. I've been at games where okay, think about it too. Like I was a teacher at Basta High School. And the Basta High School had a team that would play in the league, right? So it ain't like to say you're playing other schools, you're playing big men and these games are being played in the communities. So you might have students who have issues with people from this particular community and we're going to play football in the heart of the community. There's been times when I had to call police. I had to call police while the game going on and say, yeah, I might want to come across here until the game done. Yeah, and and to their credit, there were times when I remember one particular time I was sitting on the bench and a fellow come and was like, what's going on by watching the game, man? I said, Bailey, you might want to start pack up now, yeah. I said, what happened? I said, Bailey, just look up on the wall. Look up on the wall.
I feel like
look up on the wall. When I look up on the wall, right, Jade, it's like man can't done. Like just a lot of man on the wall.
listen, it's very interesting to hear it from your perspective because my perspective would have been as a student. So like, as I said, I've never stopped to think about like what the teachers have to see.
Or what we have to deal with?
Yes.
No, but Jade, think about it. Come on. You're a teacher, right? You realize when school done, there is a line of men in blue shirts outside the fence. Like, you seen it? Like, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
What you gonna do? You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Like, when you call police every day? Everybody walking down the road together. Everybody going to Victoria Road. I'm talking from in school. Everybody going to Victoria Road together. Like, okay, even when I was in school, right? Even when I was in school, you would have persons from specific communities who might have been smaller than some of the other communities that are, because, okay, I went to junior high. At the time, they used to call junior high in Vietnam and all kind of thing, right?
Yep.
So you have, at that school, guys from Newtown, guys from St. Peter's, guys from Market Street, guys from McKnight, guys from Village, right? And at any given moment, there could be some type of tension between any of those.
Oh no, we used to see them
Right?
religiously lunchtime.
So what you would have happen is, and bear in mind, this is junior high, so we're talking about 11 to 13-year-olds.
No, there was some very like.
And I tell you, like, I spoke about it maybe on the previous show, but that was one of the things. Till this day, there's some guys that I see them around and I just can't respect them because there were a lot of the older guys who were putting a lot of the younger guys into some of these like very precarious positions Why is it you as a big man done out of school coming to junior high and encouraging younger guys to be in violent confrontation with their classmates?
I used to say that all the time.
With your classmates, you know, like
so you got to be outside fighting and then you got to come in here and sit down with that person.
And sit down next to that person, do break time, play football with them, all them kind of things. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I used to see it religiously lunchtime, like people would, and it's because they're not like the kids on break, so they're literally leaving home. These were such fatherless people by like,
yeah, that would tell you, like,
jobs, like what y'all doing?
There's one particular guy, every time I see him, is like, I just get this disdain for him because like, he was such an older guy.
Yeah, no,
who just had no real. All his purpose was in life, it seemed, was at the time, was to encourage this type of behavior between youngsters and to keep it going, because that is what gave him some sense of seniority.
It's like a cult leader and just play with puppets, because how you ain't got nothing else to do but to come to my. So it is.
It's a big man. It's a big man.
You out of school, you got to catch bus, come to the school, you know.
But what I was saying is that I would see situations, and I was involved in it as well. I wasn't no gang person or nothing like that.
Oh, I just get why?
But remember, sometimes you just get guilty by association because you live in a certain area, right? So I was never involved in any and the good thing for me was because I was involved in so many different things. In schools, I was in track, I was in football, I was in music, I was in...
somebody ain't like you.
Right? And not only that, I went to Newtown Primary. My grandmother lived Malone Avenue. So I'm good with everybody from all over the place. So it was good for me. I was in for basketball. So for some reason at the time, Market Street had all the ballers. Right? Maybe because they had Dorset Park, so they played basketball since they could walk. So maybe that's why.
A fact, yeah.
So like I was good with everybody, but at some point you see, okay, this group is that. So you could imagine, for instance, guys from, let's say, the Irish Town, McKnight area. Easy for them to get to the school, right? And it's a big community. So how does that play into a dynamic between, say, a community like Connery, where you have students there who is a smaller community and there's some type of tension, sometimes nothing to do with them, but it's like maybe older brother or your cousin, something, and so you see, okay, well, guess what? We know that we have to meet up to walk out together because we can't walk out alone. Like that is what 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, sometimes 10-year-olds dealing with when they were going to school. So imagine they come out of that, they're going to study and these people over here dancing together. It's like, okay, well, that there is a lot better than when I was in school. like let's be serious. Like that's what it was.
It was great. It honestly, I listened to you, but thinking about a lot of scenarios that I've seen, like, and even like I don't know if people actually stop to think about how much gang violence affects schools specifically.
No, people generally have no idea.
No, because think about it, right? This is funny, but this isn't funny. I remember seeing people who used to go to Sandy Point High School who beefing come to this square to fight.
Jade, let me tell you something, right? I was involved in football, right? You know how mystic it is when you have a player who lives in Keon, who has to come to train in Warner Park, but has to drive Sandy Point where and come around because he can't pass through certain villages between Keon and Town.
Why are they pulling down the bus, man?
No, that's how serious it was.
Yeah,
people, I have a friend to this day. He was an excellent footballer. He used to play national with us, great striker. But in order to come to practice, he would have to leave Keon, catch a bus to Sadlers or Dieppe, and then catch another bus from Sadlers or Dieppe to come to town, right? And then catch a bus. No, he's doing this at 13. He's 13, like we ain't talking about no 18 and no 20, no big man here. With 13, playing under 14 football. Same thing happening for friends of mine who would have lived in like Molyneux or Mansion. They have to drive the opposite way. I mean, don't bother talk about Sandy Point. Sandy Point High had a similar dynamic. If there is contention between villages, for instance, Sandy Point High have children who come in from Sandy Point, Newton Ground. At the
This-
time, there was no Sadler's side. So even as far as Sadler's,
That
you have
Sandy
some-
Point and St. Paul's beef was serious, you know?
Like I've witnessed things that happened because of that. So
Yeah, but you know what? I hope.
people don't understand the dynamic that a lot of children had to deal with in school at the time.
No, but I hope, right? Honestly, I hope that those people who made it from that point in their life, like being a child and having to fighting after high school, growing up, still being in a gang or still having to fight, right? Even into adulthood, that stopped, right? I hope that then go back and like tell the kids that they see doing this, why probably ain't a good idea, you know?
So this is what I find happens. Because I've had these conversations. There are some fellas who, like I said, there's some of them till this day, I see them as scum. I can tell you. Because they were encouraged. They put a lot of young kids in very harmful situations. And in some cases, some of those kids ain't here and they're here still. So that's a big problem for me, right?
So you think that person, right, who went to that situation, you think there would be any time that you would probably forgive, well, not forgive them personally, but like you think if they're doing like good for the community now, if they recognize where...
No, them fellas, they are like, a lot of them, again, if you are a
So you don't think that
17,
could change?
no, what I'm saying is if you're a 17, 18-year-old, right, who's having to go to a junior high school with 13, 14-year-olds to feel and encourage and kind of things, generally that person, now, 20, 25 years on, you're just a fellow who's sitting on some corner somewhere and just wasting your life away. And glorifying in his glory days. What I find happens though is that there's some guys who we grow up and we get out of it and we're not involved in that anymore. And we tell the younger ones, yo, this is how we used to, I know how we used to be here, like this is how we used to be, and that there wasn't cool. And a lot of the guys tell them straight up, yo, that's dumb, why y'all doing don't make no sense, y'all gonna end up dead, y'all gonna end up in jail. They say it, but you know what happens is, there's a romanticization of, so as much as the fact that they'll even listen to you is based on your past reputation. But what they hear is,
they hear the good side of the story.
What they hear is, they hear what you're saying, but it's like it doesn't resonate to them the same way at that time, right? We're walking through the square and but me ain't even know what happened with the knife. For some reason, the knife ain't come out.
That's what I said. I think they're more intrigued with the bad side of the story, because that story could be a two-part story. Like you start with that way and by telling them.
I know a lot of guys who do that, Jade. I know a lot of guys who maybe was involved in them things growing up. Now they might be working at a thing that some of them own their own businesses. Like have nothing to do with them things. Like they were like 11, 13, 15, 16. A lot of times too, when a lot of fellas done with school and they get a job, like that ain't really what they're on. And they're going to work. They're going to work. They're in this lot of gang fight thing. That's what a lot of it is really in the schools. A lot of the guys, they come out and they got things to do. Like, they ain't studying, but I gang shopping this, I gotta go work. You understand?
Yeah, I wake up early now, I can't.
Yeah, I mean, when you're fighting in gang, like you're waking up, you're going to work. Maybe you're working construction.
You're so miserable, you never have the energy to fight no more.
Yeah, like, but you just don't have the time. So a lot of them know.
But what about people who, like...
And a lot of them working government jobs. Like real do things, man, from in school days. They're working government jobs, they done appointed and they ain't in them things no more. But when they talk to the younger ones romanticize the stories of the past and how you used to be a bad man and
oh my God, used to love you because you was the fighter and all kind of thing.
And you're telling them like, yo, dude, that like you see me doing that now? That never make no sense. Why y'all doing it make no sense? Some of y'all are dead. Like, let's not do this. And then they're thinking to myself, I want to be like, hey.
So somebody just make a point, right, about there was this guy in my class that he was super bright, like when I tell you, like bulb, right? And a situation happened with him and he ended up having to like go to jail and stuff like that. But like, throughout school before this happened, we used to pull him class, like we used to make sure he come in class. Like, you know he in something, but you just like him so much as a person that you're making sure that he come in class and stuff like that.
I have a similar story of a guy that I just loved. But you gotta continue.
And the thing though is like, even though we used to be doing that, a lot of the time, like he used to always be here because he had brothers who were in gangs too.
Yeah.
And people just used to be telling him, oh, you're just like your brother. So if you're constantly telling a child this, right, even if this child trying his best, right, because I used to see him try. Like, even though he was a part of a certain lifestyle and stuff like that, Ted is now bright as him, like.
I know that he was a literal genius, eh? Like, I am convinced if we had ever gotten him tested, like, they would have, like, had to find some way to send him or something, because he was, I think, one, in his situation, I think the first thing you have to look at is that his home situation was very difficult. He basically was raised by his older brother who was only maybe maybe 3 years older than him, right? He was very, they were abused. They were abused by their family member. They didn't live with their parents. The parents lived with another family member. And, you know, they ended up involved with, not even involved, it's more like, you know, you live in a village, like you're outside, like, so you're friends with the people you're around. It ain't a matter that I don't think a lot of the guys, especially back then, had this thing like, oh, I'm gonna go join a gang. Like, it's like,
it's just that
you live here, you live here, you play football with them every day, you play basketball with Lime when we done play.
Yeah,
like,
outside.
we outside Liming, like that's
all that, like,
right. So that's so a lot of, so you know, we get wrapped up in that. But I used to teach him. I used to coach him football as well, because he was a very good footballer as well. And I couldn't understand how he would not come to school and just pass everything.
Well, right?
I couldn't understand it. Like, he was the type of dude, like, you know how people would skip the days when we have tests? He would ask me, yo, Bailey, when's the test? So he would skip the classes.
Oh, I used to hear them people.
No, like most times, you tell students come in all the time and tell them, hey guys, next class, we have a quiz on the last 2 weeks of material or whatever. He's a man, I'll see him on the road and he'll be like, Bailey, you got any tests? I'm like, we got on Tuesday. And he come for the Tuesday class, he ain't come another class. He come for the Tuesday class, do the test, pass, and then me seeing him again until it's test time again. And I just used to be like, bah, this man got some potential. He love football, he come in. But based on other stuff he was wrapped up in, like, he's not here anymore, right? He's not here, like, he lost his life. And it's like, when you see them things, it's like, bah, it's like so much wasted potential. And I think I think too, teachers have a unique view on this dynamic, because a lot of us looking on outside, we see the social media post about this person being arrested for murder or this person died and whatever, and we don't know them. But teachers know them. Teachers know the potential. Teachers know if this was somebody who, for some reason, since they're in grade 2, just was a bad hand, or we know this is somebody who, for some reason, just had so much potential and got involved in things that they shouldn't have gotten involved in, or had a home situation that made it difficult for them to realize the potential. And like, it does get really sad. Like, for me, I only taught like 3 years, Jade. And so much of the fellas who I either taught, coach football, coach track, like, I'd be like, how these teachers are doing this for 20 years to deal with this kind of like
constant trauma?
But I don't understand, like, because still now I talking about it and it's like rough.
And I think sometimes too that having to deal with that so much makes teachers not really like want to deal with certain situations, because I'm not like you kind of have to disconnect, I think, sometimes. Yeah, as a student, right? Like, as you said, teachers know something might be wrong or something might be happening that causes a student to turn from how they were to.
That'll be the worst to buy. That'll be the worst, Jade.
And
I've had that situation where I had a student who you could tell was trying, and then just stopped trying. And you know, something happened outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
And so it's like, when you start doing that, you start recognizing this child dealing with a change in the home environment, child dealing with abuse, sexual, all kind of things. Like, I told this story before. There was a young lady, she was in one of the slow streams, but she was a hard worker, very pleasant. So there were several teachers recognizing that, wanted to get her into one of the higher streams, right? So we had spoken about it. We made a plan as to, okay, we can get her to focus on these subjects. We're giving her extra work so that the plan is for her to, when she moves up into the next year, she moves into the faster stream, right? And all of a sudden, it's like just everything changed. Like, she stopped trying. She don't come to school as often. Blah, blah, blah. So one day, I took up my fast in Momo self. See the girl and she mother down in Rams, down the Bay Road. And decide I'm going to be all the concerned teacher. Going to ask the mother, you know, if she noticing any changes in the young lady and saying, you know, thought she had so much potential, boom, boom, bam, and whatever, whatever. And the mother, they're like, no, me know what happening, me know nothing about that. What happened to you? What going on with you? Why you not doing your work? Bam, bam, bam. Mother, see me very concerned. What you would expect a mother to say if a teacher here telling you your daughter ain't trying and she has some more potential, saying all the same things. And the girl, like, she couldn't take it no more. And then she's like, Mama, miss you. I miss you. Like, it's you.
Well,
the mother literally was setting her up with older men, right? The mother was setting her up with older men, believing that it's only after I spoke to the mom and so I recognized the mom felt she was doing her a good turn, because now the girl is 16. The mother is like, the mother literally said, well, I got you at 16, right? And the mother is now trying to partner her with men, thinking, I know the type of men who would be better for. She gonna be dealing with men, so I might as well be the one to decide who men she go with and so. Because me, why going on these little boys who pissing in your crotch? That was the exact term. That was the exact term that was used. At this point, I standing up in Rams and I saying, "Bye, I just wanted some grapes here. I just wanted
fast.
fast. All I want is some grapes."
No, you know what?
I just went to school the next day before them there to the guidance counselor and back out. Reverse.
You know, it's funny. I was one of the kids that I had to go to guidance counselor. Like, I've been to counselors for majority of my life. Well, not majority of my life. Majority of my teen to adult life, right? Because I could say exactly the day like everything changed for me. Where like
the day I got initiated into
trauma? Yes.
No, Cream. I was gonna say.
No. Cream was high school.
Okay.
Shout out to Cream.
Yeah, I should do like a reunion.
Oh yes. Boy, if you see somebody members now, you would believe. But anyway. But we look good though. Are you looking good? But like I think I was 11, right? And somebody broke into daddy's house and certain things happened that like from that point like I recognized what trauma was.
Oh, okay.
And like I've been traumatized a lot. Too. But I feel like I recognized as a child I needed to just talk to somebody.
Yeah, just talk. Just there.
And I picked my counselor, which is actually Miss Azem. Naima was my counselor in high school, and I have to say, like, even though a lot of it work in the way that, because I couldn't do it consistently because you're in school. You don't have time to constantly go to a counselor. Not that it didn't work, it just wasn't enough to change certain things. But it helped. It helped because I was dealing with a lot as a child. Like I don't think a lot of adults recognize that just how they as adults deal with trauma, that kids could be possibly dealing with this type of trauma too. Like,
because as adults, a lot of what we worry about is money and work stuff and relationships. Like generally, when people stressing, they're stressing out over something to do with them there. It's bills, right? Is stuff to do with your career, work, whether it is you feel unfulfilled, whether it is you can't deal with your boss, whether it is you and your co-worker falling out, whether it is you wish you were doing something else,
whether it is just overwhelmed.
Our relationships. So because we don't see children as having bills, because we don't see children as having to work, and because we don't feel that children should have in relationships, it's like, but what you got stressed about?
A lot, man.
And what happens is that we ignore the fact that people dealing with things, people including small people.
Smart kids are people too. No, I often tell myself, right, because of experiences I've had with like family and how I grew up and stuff like that, right? One thing I think that in itself has made me very constantly conscious of not traumatizing Jaden. Willfully traumatizing Jaden, or like consciously, because of course.
Do you believe that it could cause you to go too much to the opposite end, where in an effort to not traumatize, sometimes you step in places where you should step in, or deal with things where you should, like, maybe not be as forceful, or maybe not be as hands-on, or maybe not be, even if it doesn't present itself now, do you think that's something that might present itself in the future? Because generally, we will never get the perfect balance.
No. I worry about that. Do I think I'm capable of doing it? No, punish him or stop him from doing things that I just know, like, so for instance, right, I feel like from birth, we feel like children supposed to be beaten into like submission, or if they listen to you, they're wrong. Like, they have, no matter what you tell them, they have to listen to you. Right? And I understand, like, sometimes it's because you don't want them to hurt themselves, or you need, but like sometimes it's just because we feel like because we're adults, they have to listen to us.
But okay, the way I look at it, right? We as adults, we live in a society. Society has rules, right? Do you have to do what society mandates? No, but then there are consequences to that action, right? For kids, they live in a home. The home has rules set by the parents. Issue I have is if there isn't that same level of understanding that, yeah, you could do what you want, yeah, because you have your own mind and your own decision, you can make your own decisions. But if it isn't, what I find happens sometimes is children ignore the rules and there's no consequence.
No, I mean,
no. I mean, talking about you. And then what happens is that they come into wider society and have the same behavior where they have no experience with accountability.
Yeah.
And so you will hear children say it. Like, you'll hear children say, like, my mother don't do that there, my thing don't do that there. And it's like, yeah, but bro, like, you in your mother's house.
And me, your mother.
And me, your mother. Like, so, like, but what I recognized is children who become ill-disciplined members of society are probably ill-disciplined children.
Yeah.
And so the lack of discipline, and speaking from being a teacher, right? You could see how the home situation really affects in a big way the outcome of children. Like, it's plain to see. Like, you could see the children that come. It's plain.
Azem, I am a product of that. Like, when I was younger, I lived with some people, and that like altered the trajectory of the behavior in certain ways, right? And as an adult, like, I had to fight to reverse it
and unlearn some of them behaviors and things.
So, like, for instance, right, I recognize that Jaden is 4. He's going to do 4-year-old things.
Right.
If he wet up the floor, I have to bang him up because he wet up the floor.
Right.
If he make a mess with his food, I have to bang him up because.
Right.
But these things that I see happen or have had experience because, so it makes you afraid to even make any little mistake because you're always walking, like, you know, it is as a child to feel like you're walking on eggshells. You know how it is to feel as an adult, right?
Yeah.
So imagine a child who don't understand, like, why is it that my parents or my guardians or whoever I live with feel like me ain't good enough to be like a person, or they're talking to you in ways that, like, you wouldn't even talk to, like, your worst enemy and stuff like that. You know how that does play on a child?
I think, and that's my thing too. My thing is what I hear a lot of times is evidence of unprepared and ill-equipped parents and guardians, right? They don't know. They don't know what their responsibilities are, right? That's one. And even if they have a vague idea of what their responsibilities are as a parent, they don't have the tools to execute it effectively. So I think a lot of times when you see parents resort constantly to physical reprimanding of children, they don't have enough tools in their toolbox to deal. So it's like, this is the tool I have. The tool I have is licks. And so not recognizing that you can't use the same tool for every issue, right?
No.
And so there might be a recognition that, hey, I need to instill discipline, but they don't even have the tools on how to effectively cultivate discipline, right?
Yeah.
And so you have these situations where it's difficult for children to even navigate, because after a certain point, if you use the wrong tool for this for an issue, you get a bad result, right? And so I think that's what happened a lot of times. So nobody's saying that there might not be time where these tools are necessary, but if you only got one tool in your toolkit,
Yeah, like
you're gonna build. You can't build a house with just a saw.
You know what?
That
don't want to say.
Yeah, your house gonna drop down.
You know, I think one of the saddest realizations for me, and I guess it's because of, as I said, things that I've dealt with, is recognizing when people, it's like, you ever see somebody who you think have a disdain for their own child? I think I've been in places like clinics and stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a certain level of resentment.
And you could see it and you could hear it, and it is insane.
But I met a lady that admitted to me that it's difficult for her. The way she put it is, I love my son, but it's difficult for me to like him because every time I look at him, I see father.
Oh, you need some therapists.
I was just happy that. I was just happy that she was able to even articulate that.
Listen, self-awareness is a heck of a thing, eh? And thankfully you are. So here we are.
The woman tell me it's hard for her to like his son because every time she look at his son, she sees his child father. You're
gonna have to realize that this is two separate people, and whoever hurt that man did, the only way for you to figure out how not to create this situation where your child hate you, go therapist.
No, but Jade, the other day,
because you know that means she's gonna treat this child a certain way based on the fact that suppose now, kids have similarities to their parents, right? Not saying that this is what she is or how she is, right? But suppose there's a situation where that child does something that reminds her of that person she dislikes.
Yes, no, but you're talking about even a child. Okay, I have been in situations, right, where I have ended up in arguments with a significant other, and halfway through the argument, I realized they're arguing with me.
Or they're arguing with the person that I was with.
They're arguing with the ex. I remember one time
trauma boy.
I remember one time I was in a heated argument with a significant other, and she mentioned something about the marriage, and I was like, what?
You were married?
No, I was not married.
Oh, just get that on me. Wow.
I wasn't married.
You sure? You didn't even like you sure?
I was like, no, because I was so confused.
You stopped to think if she didn't make you for sure?
Well, I know we weren't married. I know that wasn't gonna happen, right? So.
You were at the last part.
No, but you know.
Yeah, that's true.
But what I'm saying is, that is when I recognize. I say, hold on, you realize you're not arguing with me, right? Like, you're not upset with me. You're upset with your past, and because you saw some similarity in behavior, like you're arguing with your ex, you're arguing with me.
You know, all of us can go to therapy. I don't think we have enough therapists.
No, we don't.
But I think some of us need to start doing some like self-work to recognize like when we have things that we probably need to heal.
Part of the problem is, again, accountability is a big problem in society right now. Nobody wants to take accountability, and then victimhood is sexy right now. Like, that's one of the sexiest thing you could be right now as a victim. Right now, oh, you get some... Jade, I'll give you an example. We live in a society, right? I had a grandparent who used to love to watch the Maury Show.
Sorry.
They don't know what's going on in the Maury Show. All they're studying about is they ain't listening to the dialogue. They're just waiting to see like the old school fighting. Right? They just was like, this is how we used to be when we were small.
Listen, Maury, what's listen? You stop there.
But so I used to always look at the Maury Show, and what I always found interesting, but not always, I had a revelation one day watching the Maury Show. You know the episodes where they bring on a young lady who is trying to get the father of a child to be present in the child's life.
As he should be.
As he should be.
Yeah.
And she comes out, the crowd, this is what I found interesting. The crowd would be so supportive of her, right? In trying to now put this guy in a position where he can take up his responsibilities. And the guy would come out, and before he could even say anything,
you're deadbeat, bro.
and the man in the shop itself come about.
Yo.
Now, I remember being young and being home and booing, and you cheer because you cheer when the crowd cheers and you boo when the crowd boos. I'll get to what the problem with that is. But what I would always find interesting, and this is well, the epiphany I had one day was the particular lady on that day. This was her third time bringing a guy there.
Oh no, that's when I just be like, oh y'all getting ridiculous now. Like, just go to court. Just at this point.
But the same thing happens. She comes out, Maury asks her, are you sure? Maury, it can't be anyone else. It's
But you said this the last time.
He knew.
But
you knew.
But you said this the last time.
Right.
So how are you sure that this isn't?
Clap, 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 clap. Maury gets the little envelope.
Oh, with the dramatics. You know, the thing come down on the bottom of the screen, results are in. Oh, you're triggering some core memories for me today, boy.
99.9%.
And then the little pause between.
You are not the father.
Shut on the chair, them shoes gone one way, she gone the next.
No, what happens in this moment?
Should I win? And then the cameraman will follow.
Okay, so without fail, the young lady runs off the set, right? The cameraman follows her.
Them cameraman is on track.
The main thing. But what I found interesting is that in that moment, she gets consoled.
Yeah, because
it's like, it's gonna be we are here for you.
If you're a producer,
if you want to bring
support system.
Maury yourself. Maury yourself don't reach in the back.
Yep, but he quick too, you know.
He quick.
That man was moving, you know.
No.
I don't believe that was that so big man.
That is what I found interesting. I remember one day.
Nobody consoling the man, you know.
Nobody consoling the man. As a matter of fact, there are situations where, and this is what happened in this particular situation, because this is a guy who, prior to the results coming in, was like, yeah, if it's my child, I do take care of my responsibilities. I take care of my responsibilities, Maury. I got 3 more kids. All my kids are taken care of, Maury. Blah, 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 blah. You know, when they're done, Maury can come back out to him and say, this child needs a father, will you be there for it?
Sir.
And not only that, he now gets shamed
If he said no.
for not
Oh,
wanting to
whatever.
support the child that he knew all along wasn't his child. And never at one point claimed. While the lady gets consoled, right? And I remember it was clicking to my head and I was like, I can't stop. I have to stop watching this because I am being indoctrinated to believe men ain't shit,
Yeah.
right? Because nothing, like on that particular day, I think it was just so wild, like nothing made sense. I was just like,
But that's a typical storyline for Maury.
yeah, but what I'm saying is, on that particular day, because what I'm saying is the crowd generally consoles the
But the
lady.
man ain't care. No, I think the man ain't care, you know. Listen, this woman could be on the show.
No, but nobody shame her. But they don't. But
7, 8. I've seen episodes, you know.
But they shame the man.
Oh yeah,
That's the
every one of
problem I
them,
have.
all 8 of them.
They shame the men.
Because if y'all detect this child, listen, and nothing wrong with taking children that not yours if you want to if you want to be there for this child, nothing wrong with that. We're not shaming. Somebody got a lot of us out here jackets. Darrione, you might be a jacket, you ain't even know. How you know? You look like a fella? See? Exactly. So we don't know. However, right? You can't shame people. Huh? Do I say that? Listen.
No, you really shouldn't, Jade. No, you really should not.
I a woman to wicked, Jade.
No,
This
but
is
no.
the
Like, let me say this quick because I feel you're giving bad advice.
But what my advice is?
No, nothing wrong if you support the child that's not yours.
Yes, as a father figure, if you see fit, may say
No,
that.
you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't.
So
It's a different situation. It's a different situation if, for instance, the child's father isn't involved and you are involved with the child's mother, that kind of thing. That's different. I'm talking about the reason why I say it's you should not is that one, personally on the man's part, what you're doing is you're now putting resources into a place that takes away from your potential to continue to elevate and make yourself even more of a viable option for future relationships, for future whatever, right? The second thing is that child needs their father. Like it's not just about having a father. It's not a matter that they know who the child's father is and whatever. It's not you. That mother has a responsibility to the child to find out who that child's father is and give them the best opportunity. Bear in mind, the person might not be interested and that changes the dynamic. But I think every effort should be made to connect kids with their biological father.
I agree with all of that. But
Right,
me
so
saying that shouldn't happen. I'm just saying
no, but
that
I'm talking about jackets. I mean in the jacket thing. I don't think just taking
No, I
children
didn't
away.
mean.
I mean in the jacket thing.
No, man, I was joking when I said as jackets, lad. I didn't mean.
Okay, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking
No,
about
no,
like taking children in year one and so. Like I think that.
Why? Some of us no, because some of us is granny looked at children. Okay?
Yeah.
Some of us they know was granny. But what I mean is like, let's say there's a child that you form a bond with, right? And you recognize that this child, the mom ain't know or the father ain't interested. Right? Is it a bad thing for you as a man to be there for the child and
No, but that's what I'm saying.
but that's what I meant.
Yeah, but but that's what I'm saying is you are now in a relationship with the mother, right?
No, I ain't talking about relationship.
So why would the man put resources over there?
Because
Well,
because he
give me a
wants to
break.
see the best
Give me
for
a
that
break.
child.
Give me a break.
Because he wants that young man
Give
to
me a-
grow up
give
to
me
be
a
the
break.
best child that he could be.
Give me a
Like,
break.
what do you mean? What's
Give me a
wrong with
break,
that?
Jade. Give me a break.
What's wrong with that?
Give me a break. So what happens now when?
But I
what
thought we
happens-
want,
no,
I
what
thought we
happens-
want
no,
children to have
no,
mentors and all of these
no,
things.
no, but you're not talking about a mentor, Jade.
What are you talking about?
You're talking about supporting the child in a father role. No, like what I'm saying is, so you are not in anything with the mother. That's what you're saying.
No.
So I'm trying to see how this goes. Like how this
Okay.
happened. Like how this happened? Because I have, okay, for instance, I have been I have grown close to boys simply because of either they come around the band music, they come around maybe I coach them in football, maybe they were around the church and them kind of things, right? At no point, right? At no point do I consider myself a substitute for a father figure, right? Doesn't mean that I don't contribute positively in whatever way to this child's life, but I'm not substitute for a dad. That's not the role. I think that is and I also believe that even if your dad is in your life, it's okay to have other male figures in your life. So it isn't about. But the idea of having a father figure, I think that is a specific thing. I think.
I suppose there's none in the child life.
That's not my job. If I'm not in anything with the mom, right? If I'm not in anything with the mom, I also believe that mothers can identify men who they respect and who they believe could positively like pour into their children's life, particularly young boys. 'Cause I think young boys need that male figure. But the pseudo dad game that I see some fellas playing, no, y'all need to cool on that. Yo. They need to cool on that, Jade. They need to cool on that. It's a difference between me being a male figure in your life and me being a father, like being a pseudo father.
But suppose the child has none, and you decide to.
That's not your responsibility.
Why not? If you decide.
Because you're not his father, and you do not have the relationship with his mother that would allow you to fulfill that role. Like that I'm saying, like so even if you have a father, right? Even if you have a father who is present, maybe even living in the home with you, you have uncles, right? In other words, the uncle role and the father role different here. The mentor
that have stepped into the family.
My father has done that, right?
So that's what I mean. So why they can't do that without having a relationship with the mom?
No, but I'm saying, I think what the difference is for me, I think there's a difference between the pseudo father and being a male presence, a male role model. That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe.
But for instance, I'll give you an example, right? The way I might approach a young man that I'm close to in a situation where he does something that I do not approve of is different if I'm his dad and different if I'm a male role model in the community.
That's okay.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you're going to admit that there's differences in the roles that men play, I'm saying if you're not the actual father in a relationship with the mother, then the role that father role, like the way that the father would discipline as opposed to uncle, or as opposed to another male role model, I don't think you're going to step in and pretend to be that.
Why?
Because that's not your role, and that breeds resentment.
Resentment for who?
Resentment for the male role model, because in every situation.
But there's literal people who have had to step up into that role for kids. So you're saying they shouldn't?
That's exactly. No, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be there and support and help and whatever. I'm just saying I think there's a difference in the nature of the relationship being the father figure or being a male role model. I'm just saying there's a difference. That's my thing. It's not that I'm saying that people shouldn't contribute positively to children's lives if they're not with the child mother or they're not biologically their dad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I've been in that position. My father been in that position. Like I've seen it. People do it, right? I'm saying that there's a difference between father and there's a difference between male role model.
I know there's a difference. I'm saying what about people who want to be in that role, who are allowed to be that role and to be in that role and thrive? There's not all, and every time that person is in that role that resentment breeds.
No. Like so this. So you ain't in nothing with this. So you ain't in nothing with this. With this child's mother, right?
So
But
when you said
hold
you ain't
on.
in nothing, so you mean like if you was in a relationship and I had done that and that child, like let's say you was in a
I
relationship.
believe there's a shift that happens. There's a shift. So okay, and of course this has something to do with age as well. So let's say I am with a young lady, right? She had a child. I became close to the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the point where I step into that role. Maybe I discipline the child, right? Maybe live in the home with the child, whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and the mother is no longer together, right?
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, right? I don't even think it's feasible to believe that somehow you no longer have any care, feelings, whatever for the child, right? As a matter of fact, I think the child, especially, again, the age plays a big part here, because the child is even 11, 12, 13, whether or not the mother want the child reach out to you, the child will find you if they need you,
Okay.
right? But I do believe that the nature of the relationship must be some shifts. There's going to be shifts. Whether we believe it or not, there's going to be shifts, and I think there should be some shifts. Because at the end of the day, that mother still has a greater responsibility in one, how anybody interacts with that child, has a greater responsibility for the well-being of that child. So it's not a matter that I'm saying that, oh, you're the mother done, so forget the child, right? But I believe, of course, you should respect the wishes of the mom in terms of how you interact with your child, right? I also believe that the way that, for instance, you would have disciplined the child when you were living in the house becomes different now that you're gone over here and having your own little different separate life. So that's what I'm saying. I feel the roles change based on the proximity to the child, and you can't just behave the same way you did when you was living there and was in a relationship with the mama, was building a family, as now that you're no longer building the family, but you still want to act the exact same way like you was. Like, it ain't even feasible. So it's not that I'm saying that people shouldn't pour into persons who are not their own children. I'm just saying that there should be a recognition that there's differences and that there's boundaries that exist based on the actual role. So for instance, right? You may have a situation where, and I think this one is actually pretty popular, I would say. Happens, frequently enough. Where two people, they have a child or have children, they no longer together, and parent who has the child moves on, develops a healthy relationship with whoever, right? Let's take it a different road. So, Pops has the kids. He goes on, he gets married. Kids live with him and his new wife, right? That in itself is, I think, a very interesting dynamic, because that lady that lives in there plays a motherly role, right? Because the children live there, she getting them up for school, whatever. Doesn't mean that the mother isn't present and active in their life. So to me, in that case, you got two moms, right? In essence, you have two moms, right? You have your biological mother who is present and might still be, and then it just might be that Pops was in a better financial situation, or maybe moms moved away overseas and didn't want to uproot the children. That's another pretty popular one, right? That happens. One of the parents migrates. So it's not that they're not supportive. It's not that they're not engaged. But this just happened that moms moved away for whatever reason, right? So in that case, I understand that woman playing that mom role, right? Because she's in something with the father, they are building a family. So when we start talking about father, to me, that means family.
Okay.
That's different to, like, if dad have the girls, mother is very present, and dad have this girlfriend that he building a relationship with, and now she come in and want to behave like she is the children's mother, and like that different. Because we're not building a family. So that doesn't mean that the girlfriend doesn't have love for the kids. It doesn't mean that the girlfriend doesn't have isn't willing to put resources aside for the kids, whether it is buying them clothes, buying them shoes, buying them whatever, taking her time out to go pick them up from school, whatever it is. But I don't think if you're not in a place where you're building family that you should pretend to be mom. You know what I'm saying? So you could. It's just to me, it's levels. It's just a level thing.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, like I tell people, like, I'm not like, I don't find it wrong to say, like, I'm not your dad. I love you. I care about you. I would help you in any way I can. But the truth is, I'm not your dad. Like, I'm not. Like, and that's different if I'm, of course, building with your mom. Same thing. I think women should be able to say that, to say, like, look, I'm not your mom, but I see you in the community. I see you as a young woman who needs guidance. I see you as somebody who may be struggling a bit. I don't have a problem giving whatever, but I'm not your mom. But if I'm with your dad and we're building a family, then my access to you changes, the boundaries changes, my level of investment changes, perhaps even the level of emotional attachment increases. I just think there's a difference.
Well, yeah.
People cussing me on the live, tell them cuss me, please.
Cussing and agreeing. It's a mix of both. People agree with me, people agree with you.
I think.
But I don't think they're cussing you out, man.
No, I think what happens is that, like, people, for me, I just think people use the term father figure loosely. I think that's really where my gripe comes from. Like, you can have male mentors, you can have people that care about you, and I believe it's a positive thing when people are willing to invest into the lives of people who are not their blood, right? But don't try to fool yourself into thinking you're a father now because you care about somebody. Like, no, there's boundaries. There's boundaries, and you should respect that. There's a difference in level of attachment. If you're building a family with somebody's mother, then that gives you a certain level of access, right? Because you now have a certain responsibility, being in the household, being a thing. But if you're in the household and you're not with the mother, like, you're a mentor, you're somebody, you're not a parent. When they go to jail, nobody calling you.
What's that so?
You know, they could call you, but you might not be legally responsible.
Legally, no, that's something different.
But that's what I'm telling you. There's differences. You can't ignore the fact there's differences.
So it only makes sense if it's a legal thing?
No, what I'm saying is, even outside of the legal framework.
So even if I, as a man, adopt a child, right? I can't be here.
But you're the parent. You're building a family. If I adopt you, we're family. That's what I'm saying. We're family. Like, it's
suppose I adopt you in spirit.
So I need to stop doing that stupidness there too. So I running around telling people that my child and they ain't nothing to you. Stop that.
Because I clearly triggering Azem. Clearly. So let's not.
Not me. But I see some people out here, in order to fill their own shortcomings in their own life, they're running around adopting people's children, and then all of a sudden they move on and adopt somebody else, and then the so-called child you had over there, well...
Suppose
no, that'll happen a lot, Jade.
I know, but I suppose it's not an instance like that. Suppose that child that they adopt is adopted for life, in spirit.
Yeah, but they're not your child. What do you mean adopt in spirit? What do I even mean? What do I even mean? We need to stop with these like weird, convoluted, vague terms here.
Yeah, adopted.
I adopted her in spirit. She's not my child.
Yes.
Look at my
This
chat.
is one of
them
mine.
Them things that frustrate me. Because
We know.
no, but it's because I believe you have the option to forsake that arrangement, right? You can walk away.
Parents just walk away all the time.
Right, but there is a understanding that you have now turned your back on your responsibility and duty. You don't have a duty in the same way a parent does because this is somebody I like them. There's a level of duty and responsibility that comes with being a parent. People shirk that responsibility and duty all the time, and that is deplorable, right? But you can't tell me it's the same thing. Why is it that people get upset, right? When, for instance, white people, right, come and start to act like they're the biggest social justice warriors for black people. Like, but what they say might be right. What they say, you know why? Because you are able to disconnect yourself from the experiences that comes with being a black person. So it's not the same. Because you feel, or because you don't like when police brutalize black people, don't make you a black person. So there's an understanding there that, hey, you have the ability to walk away and not have to deal with the consequences of the things, even though you're empathetic to the cause. It's the same exact thing. You're not the parent. You're not. So stop behaving so. Like, stop trying to fool yourself. You're not.
Well, on that note, as I said,
Yeah, I make people walk, see me in the road and abuse me. Yeah?
me,
Jade, ain't me Jade for?
me, I think,
Blame Jade.
me just here listen.
I just like to tell man, bro,
Listen
be a
and say-
father to the child.
Let's start because Mari asked me a question, you know.
Murray,
See what kind of seed he planted as him?
no, but the problem with things like Murray is really that they perpetuate the narrative
Now, Murray's toxic.
that men in this and that we don't hold women accountable.
Yeah.
That's the issue with Murray.
That's not the only one, but there's
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that's
Mari had
Yeah.
ish. Oh, these reality
Bye.
shows was toxic, but no, was worse than Jerry Springer though. Not lie. There's this one, right? It might have been worse than Jerry Springer.
Steve.
No, Steve Wilkos wasn't bad.
I don't watch it.
No, right? That was like, you know, that was like
Jerry.
Jerry was evil Steve. If you understand. Like even though Steve come from Jerry, like Jerry is the nice version of what Jerry. No, Steve is the nice version.
The water down.
Yes.
Water down.
But there was this show one time, right? Oh, this what Sally Jessica Parker, I think her name was.
Her name was okay.
But this is what happened, right? She had, oh, she should not go to jail for this. She had so basically she brought a man on a show, right? To have another man tell this man that he in love with him. And this man was his friend. Right? You know what happened in the story? The man who they brought on the show ended up kill the man that they allowed to bring him on the show. Like murdered that man. Run up in the house and kill him. Over the fact that this was done on live TV.
And he had no idea what was going on. Stop put people in them thing. That's why I could respect. That's why I could respect Jerry, you know, because the people on Jerry they paid. It's regular people, but they pay them a little something. They know what's going on. Like,
gonna go fight.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss when Jerry used to let people fight. Anyway.
Ding ding ding.
Watch here. Just let them stop for like 5 minutes and then pull them apart like this concert.
That's why the older people like to watch Jerry because it's the old school fight. Nobody get hurt. Nobody no gun coming out, no knife coming out. And it's old school little scrabble lasts about 30 seconds.
Yeah. Chudong, cheer them everything.
A little 30 seconds, maybe not even 30 seconds. You don't even let them get close. They fight there.
No, they used to let them girls pull here, man.
Oh yeah, a little pull here.
Yeah, Steve used to go winning for them, but you know. But what was I saying?
No, you were just talking about how some of the shows it
no,
might not be the
TV
worst.
was.
Yeah.
Talk.
It was?
No, it's way worse now, but I don't watch it, so I don't know. I stopped watching that when, after like Love and Love and hip hop and the real, like all them things, I couldn't for sure.
You know what, when I realized that, when I stopped looking at all those, but I never used to really watch them. But when I really started, at first I was very, not only just disinterested, but I really couldn't, I lacked concern.
The first was,
But I went to a meet, like, when I was living in the US, I went to a media workshop where they discussed how to monetize black trauma. And
now I've been milking that ever since.
And I since then I have been able to see it. Like you get a lot when you're a sound engineer.
I could imagine.
Like I used to be in some of these meetings, you got to sign NDAs and so
Of course.
Because you're just behind there in the meeting, just sitting down, so they make sure the mic don't go off. Like, but you're hearing everything. You hear what going on, and when you have all these white-owned networks that profit from displaying and manufacturing, that's the other thing too. They don't only display it, but they manufacture black trauma. They don't do that to themselves, eh?
No, they had cops.
No, but cops was generally white police officers, or at least an institution that is whitewashed, going into underserved and underprivileged communities. As a matter of fact, I can say this. In the meeting, one of the preambles...
Hey, don't make us get sued,
One of the meetings, right? One of the preambles for one of the introduction for one of the speakers spoke about how cops came about and how cops made it acceptable for people in lower socioeconomic communities to feel it was okay for police to come busting in the house. Like that was manufactured, Jade. It wasn't just this. They said we are going to put this on television to allow us to be able to go ahead and do this because it then becomes normalized.
Yeah,
like people feel like because even if you're wrong, nobody's seeing when the people them sue the city for the front door.
No.
So it's like if every night you turn on your TV and you just see people like that got to be like that's how they operate. They got to be like that is okay, like that is lawful, right? So they did this. Like
wow.
It was like none of these. You have to understand all of these shows. Somebody planning it. Like
no, of course, cheaters.
No, it's our plan. It's our plan.
You know my favorite one though? How to Catch a Predator.
Oh my gosh.
Because them there.
What are those name again by
Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen.
Oh, Chris. Listen, I know that how you say think when they see that white man back the car. I just know that heart used to just sink by.
Hi, good night. Say, want to meet a 13-year-old girl?
Oh, God. Yo, I shot that stuff, man. No, it wasn't he that tried. It was the cheaters man get stabbed. But Chris?
Bye.
Oh, Chris wasn't playing with them, bye.
Yeah, television. One of the best things that could have happened is the undermining of cable television, right? It also could have been one of the worst things, but
no, it's probably both.
It definitely took away some level of control and indoctrination that was able to be done by media houses. It was ridiculous. People didn't understand all these media houses owned by like 4 families. Eh?
Yeah, the Rothschilds.
It's only like a couple big everything gets distributed through only a very handful of major production companies. It's crazy. But I think the point is to bring this all back home before we leave.
Yeah, because men even know how we reach here again.
Men know really
oh,
reach
God.
here, but anyway, to bring this back home is a lot of times we don't understand like what a lot of people dealing with. Right? And we look on and then people take advantage of it. People ignore it. People do all kind of things. Like, yo, just recognize that you don't always have the full story. You don't always have the full story. Whether it is with what you're watching on TV or TikTok or whatever. Some are still out here getting fooled off by these girls running around and taking these pictures on the Instagram. Some of y'all still getting fooled off by that there. Y'all need to, like, come on.
Watch him. I bet Darrione. See?
Some of them still getting fooled off. Yeah. Thinking that their life all good and so. Some of these people, yeah, they go and cry themselves to sleep every night. But if you check them on their Instagram, they're living their best life. It's like, no girl, you're homeless.
But listen, and I'm glad, right?
You're homeless. You're homeless. You just went over Marriott and took some pictures by the pool. You're literally homeless.
No, I'm glad I've never. I'm glad social media has not indoctrinated me in that way. Because some of the things y'all do,
I can't
some
even
of the
make that
lives
claim.
y'all does.
I can't make that claim. But go ahead, I know what you're saying.
No, I mean
Like you wouldn't do them things.
no, a lot of, I think there's a lot of things I wouldn't do, you know.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
No, but I mean, yes. However, there's a lot of people who's not like me. There's a lot of things I would do, man. For the smallest amount of things, a lot of things as him.
Yeah.
Like
You see that,
that's and that's why
and people try to justify it.
not me doing that. I justify why I want. I watch enough YouTube things to know, right? That yeah, they might be painting a picture, everything might look good, right? But for instance, right, like these YouTube families and stuff like that, main thing, people recognize the damage y'all doing to y'all kids, you know.
Forget
Forcing these kids to constantly live their life on camera, making them do all kind of things, forcing them to cry on camera and all of these things, right? Just for you to be able to make some money off your kids.
But,
Like
part of the problem is that it's fake. It's manufactured.
yeah, I know.
It's manufactured. So like so yes, they're traumatizing the family, but that is the family. So that might be the 6 children or whatever, right? But what about the millions of people looking at that and believing that somehow their life is inferior because they don't have the type of experience that this family having? That's millions of people in a jail.
Yep.
So you could go ahead and spoil up your kids. You see where I'm coming from? But you got a lot of people out here who just believe in this story, fairy tale that you're telling. And one of the things that I recognize too is when we were younger and we look at things on television, we knew it was a fantasy. There was something in the back of your consciousness.
Oh my God, Azem, you said that. I'm gonna tell you after.
There was
How much more
something.
time we
There
got?
was time to go.
We got about 3 minutes.
So what happens is that in the back of your consciousness, somewhere you knew this was a fantasy, right? For some reason, that dynamic has now shifted in when it comes to social media. People don't recognize that, yo, this is a fantasy too. Like this is fantasy world.
Let me ask you a question. How many times have you seen intimate scenes in movies?
Too much to count.
How many times have you recognized that it was real?
Very few.
You know why? Because it's not.
Right.
You see that they brought out this new series called Swarm, right?
Yeah, I haven't watched it though, but yeah.
So there's a scene where what did it from Snowfall call again? Damson and Chloe had an intimate scene, right?
I see them was making some row about that. So they thought they were actually having.
It got to be.
Why?
As in that's how they're behaving.
Okay.
There was literally a tweet saying, "Man, think I could have let a random man give me like on backshots on what?
On camera?
Yeah, I said, but
They were acting, you mean?
I think a lot of people forgetting that we're watching TV.
Yeah, there's this no.
Oh my! So y'all think that the wizards and the
No, but there's an inability. I think there's really an inability by people now to differentiate between
lock it off,
fantasy and reality.
Lock off everything because if this is where we reach,
Yeah.
lock
But
it off.
that's because there is a. But the truth is, it's because there's a constant aim by art to be authentic. That's one. And two, the truth is though that they do see a lot of the real thing, right? So back in the day, right, when we was watching Dirty Dancing, right, and the sex scenes come on or whatever, like, yeah, there's an understanding of that. But then the truth is that no, when the music we see there's a constant aim to be as authentic as possible. You gotta be a gang member to start singing about some of these songs. If you're not a gang member, you get cloned like Takashi 6ix9ine. When you put on your phone and half the people snaps his porn. When you see in the reality when everybody has a OnlyFans, right? You go on Instagram, Twitter full of sex. Everywhere you go is just sex.
Oh my
then
God.
what happens? It becomes blurry. The line becomes blurry between what am I consuming, and is it fantasy and is it real? And I think that is what's happening.
Now that's scary, yeah?
Yeah.
That is a scary place for us to be in.
Yeah, but for instance, and it's gonna happen more and more with celebrities because we see celebrities more and more doing the real things. How many celebrities we know, whether they were in reality TV, they were in music, or have OnlyFans and showing real things. So like, why would then you believe that they somehow draw the line because this is produced by a studio? So I understand that.
I tell you, we need to, the problem is we know too much about each other. We need to go back to not knowing so much about people. Like, I should not know intimate details about you by hopping on an app.
Oh, the blogs don't tell you everything, though.
Mainly we're talking about a blog. I'm talking about I going on Twitter and knowing that you're like people peeing on you and so. Why do I need to know that?
Because what happens is that I know if I put that up, that I get engagement, Jade, and engagement, whether it's likes, shares, comments, oh my gosh, yes.
We need to go back to when we didn't care about this. I mean, we far gone, eh?
Jade, I know how people house look, and don't even know where the house be.
I
don't know where your house be,
right?
but I could navigate your entire house.
As in back then, as a burglar, as a robber, as a thief.
Back then?
You had to work hard to figure out the layout of somebody's house, you know?
And the robbers, them going on social media right
But
now.
no, you just got to go in with your phone.
Them man watching, oh, this was posted when?
Okay,
from where? So he ain't home. Let me take a pass down and see what's going on.
Yeah, showing people everything in our house. You know?
I love to see the ladies, them, who live by themselves, and when they go to the fete, go on live in the fete. So, wait till you go home. Wait till you go home. See who in there waiting.
Are y'all okay?
I better stop playing them games, yo.
Stop put everything on social media.
So wait, someone said, but wait there, but she drunk and she out. And
she live by herself and she ain't gonna
and it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Bye.
Let me just make sure she reach home safe. Let me go by yourself, make sure she reach home safe.
What about man that outside flossing, social media snapping everything, bottles and money and jewelry.
Okay.
I know I got to go home.
I have to go home and take out the jewelry. Somebody said, come let me help you take out the jewelry, man. That ain't heavy.
I am brave, man. Man, I'm kind of brave I got, but keep that away from me, boy. I ain't gonna know when I hear a man at card. I ain't snapping. I ain't snapping that. I am not snapping that.
No, but Jade, you're not gonna be in the know. People,
I am not giving y'all an in-depth room by room.
Jade, you're so lame. Oh my god.
House tour of my place.
Jade, you're corny. Oh my god.
That's okay.
Jade, what do you mean? You're not like, come on, Jade. Everybody's going live. Come on.
No, that's
Jade.
okay. That's okay.
Make sure you tag me in that picture we just took, Jade. Why you ain't posted it yet, Jade? It's been 2 minutes. Why you haven't posted it yet, Jade?
Oh, I must be mad.
Let me see the picture. The picture ain't look good now. Why you ain't posting me? Why you post it and you ain't tag me? Baby, let me see it. Okay.
Huh.
Okay. All right, go ahead. All right, Lord.
I apply.
You see what's going on in Europe? The Europe, all them rich people stop posting anything on social media now because them European, them robbers was just up there cleaning up. You go out, you're on a yacht all night, by the time you come back, I bet you just go back and live on the yacht because nothing in your house.
Not in your house?
Nothing in your house.
Unfurnished for rent apartment. But let's go over here.
Oh boy, let's leave, let's go, let's descend.
Oh, today was such a good chat.
Yeah. Sometimes we need one of these shows, man. We just kind of talk.
Because you know me doing over the one, Jade.
No, man, tomorrow.
Unless.
No, man.
Unless.
Let's get back up.
Oh, yes. Unless y'all don't do what y'all do best.
Yeah, bye. But guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. For those of you who are listening to us post, appreciate you as well. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, follow, tell a friend. You got people out there who still don't know how to find us.
And
we're depending on you to share.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Jade?
And advertise. I feel like you need to add in that one.
Yeah. We have, again, we kept saying that we have persons who are involved, so we're gonna, that's actually gonna be something that we're rolling out pretty soon. So don't, limited spots, guys. So those of you who are interested.
Don't feel like everybody could come just advertise, man.
Limited spots, so.
We're not TV.
Yeah.
Oh, them commercials, bye.
But,
You miss commercials?
No.
Okay.
I told you last night, Jade, that I'm not a fan of ads. I understand how important they are now. That is why I think if you're advertising, try to make it interesting.
Yeah, like, you remember ICDC and the dude that used to come on your TV shouting after you because you're in college?
Oh, yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, good times. Just really attack my self-worth and
Yeah, man.
self-confidence. Yeah, man.
At 2 in the
Love
morning
it.
when you're up eating
Love
ice
it.
cream, you know what you're doing with your life? A
Love
man
it.
has pop up on your TV. You want being a bum? Why you in school?
What are you doing with your life? Why are you such a waste?
Like, sir.
Man, because they're watching down,
Like, why you talking to me, sir?
watching down at me 3-day-old KFC. I just warm up, and me got the flipping over my pants.
Yeah,
Like,
man. The man talking to you kind of crazy.
man talking to me.
I ain't know you.
But the man hitting you deep, right in your chest.
No.
man.
That was the one that used to make you all get your life together, man.
Aye. But guys, again, thank you so much for being a part of what it is that we do here. Make sure, again, you share, let somebody know about Island Tea. Tell me I hear Island Tea about Sip and Chat. I hear thinking about the sippers and the fact that last night, a guy called the house to talk to my pops, and he heard the voice, and he goes, "You is the one who used to be blah 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 blah." And he's like, "But we have to find you."
But yeah,
So
that always happen. It's so crazy how people do us distinctly by our voices.
yeah, no, but yeah, when you listen to our voice, the man says he used to listen to us daily, like you
Yeah.
know, and he said, "Well, but he really want to be a part of." And again, thanks so much for all the supporters, the ones who you know, are here and continuing to show support. Like, we're really grateful, really grateful.
Definitely.
And yeah, appreciate you guys so much, so much.
And
But
how you pray for us today? We have adulting to do.
oh yeah, we got big things to do today. Yeah. But anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope it's
Indeed.
productive. And of course, guys, please spend more time living your content than posting it. And
Stop.
remember,
Don't post it. Don't post it, please.
Jade don't talk. Listen to Jade.
For once.
And of course, guys, please remember, you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug. See you guys tomorrow.